Hi, friend, and welcome. I'm Anna Helman, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm curious, have you ever tried watercoloring on your projects? Now, if you're new to stamping or you like to keep your projects really simple, don't be afraid of watercolor. I'm going to share, there are so many different ways to do it. I'm going to share several ways today. It is so easy. And when you start watercoloring, it unlocks so many different ways that you can use these unique one-of-a-kind creations on your projects. I'll share several ways to use it. You're going to love the cards that I have created with watercoloring today. So stick around and watch. And I hope you'll stick around until the end. I'm going to invite you to do something with me this year that has made a really big difference in my life, and I think it could help you as well. So stick around till the end. The first way that I did watercoloring was what I'm going to show you right now. So I have a water painter, and this, in my opinion, is by far the easiest way to do mess-free watercoloring. You can use these to color in some of your stamped images. You can use them to create backgrounds like I'm going to show you here. You can use them in a lot of different ways. So I'll show you right now how to just create some really simple multicolor backgrounds. So what I did is, this has water in the barrel here, and I held it over top of these. I have 3 colors of ink here. I have Pretty Peacock, Summer Splash, and Calypso Coral. And I just squeezed it until some water actually ran out of the tip and onto here, and I mixed that up. So once I have that ready, I can start just putting that color onto my background. And what I did, you'll see the pieces that I used and the ways I use them on my cards here in a minute, but you'll see how I just kind of spread those colors out into different places. So this is the Pretty Peacock. I'll put some of that on. Keep in mind, the more water you use, the lighter those colors are going to be, of course. So I do recommend starting lighter. You can always go back, and if I want it to be darker than that, I can go back and pick up some more color. Also, the more water you use, the more it is going to blend and just have that color spread out instead of staying stuck in one place on the paper. Now, usually when I'm watercoloring, I get asked what kind of paper I'm using. So let's talk about that. This is just regular basic white cardstock that I am using right now. For my next example, I will do some with, anytime you need to clean out this, just squeeze and wipe that on some scrap paper. I got a little bit of color out, and I'm ready for a different color here now. So if you're switching between colors that are very different, you may want to do that. So for my next example, I will use watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is a fantastic option because it really allows the colors to move and blend. Whereas with the regular cardstock, when you put the color on, for the most part, it is going to stay where it's at. So you're going to see a huge difference when I get out the watercolor paper and show you my next technique and how those colors move. So I just overlap the colors. Now, these are not the colors I used on my cards. I wanted to show you some different examples. So I already mentioned the colors I used on this one. Let's set this aside, and I'll pull in the cards that I created using this technique. So here is the first one. So if we look at the background, the colors I used to create this background are Petunia Pop, Gorgeous Grape, and Boho Blue. You cannot see much of the blue on this one right here, but you will on the next couple that I show. So the set that I used to create all of these cards, I'll pull in right now. It's called Beautiful Butterflies, and I am loving this. It is a set that has the stamps and the dies that coordinate along with the embossing folder. So this is called a hybrid embossing folder. It actually works together. Here's some more dies on the back. I love this large one that I used to cut this card out. I can show you that here in just a second. But let me show you how the dies and the embossing folder actually work together. With these hybrid embossing folders, you can lay the die in here. It lines up right around this raised butterfly. Lay my paper on, shut it, run it through my cut and emboss machine, and it will die cut and emboss the paper at the same time. So you'll see how I use that in just a second. And a beautiful stamp set, lots of different ways to mix and match because all of the pieces coordinate. So here you can see how I used the die to cut the card out in the shape of the butterfly. So I just stamped that larger butterfly in the background and finished it off with a greeting and some ribbon. Here is another one. I love how this turned out. Here you can see all of those different colors. I love the boho blue coming in here, different places. After I had this created and die cut and embossed, I used my blending brushes to add some gorgeous scrape over the top to highlight those raised areas. And I thought this one turned out really neat. Now let's look at a couple that I did that same technique, but I did it with watercolor paper. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell by looking at this, but the watercolor paper has just a little bit of texture. It's a little bit thicker, and that doesn't really affect how you use it on your projects. I just thought I would mention that. But for this one, I used boho blue and misty moonlight for the background. After I had done the watercolor wash, like what I showed you, and I believe I let it dry. Then I added some splatters, and let's do that right now. I'm just gonna do it right here on my scrap paper just to show you how you can do that. So you want to get as much water in the tip of your water painter as possible without it dripping out. So I'm just going to squeeze. If I'm doing this near a card project, I make sure I'm doing this over some scrap paper or not my card, because if the water actually drips out, I don't want it to be on my card. So I have lots of water in that tip, picked up some color, and then I just hit this on my hand, and you will start to see, can you see these little splatters forming? Here, I'm gonna try and make some bigger ones. Lots of water. So there you can see some of these splatters showing up on my paper. So that is how I added the splatters to the background. So for this one, I just used that rectangular piece and I added some of the plain white die cuts over top. I thought this one turned out gorgeous. And here is another piece that I put that behind the piece. You're gonna see this butterfly die cut on my next card. But for this one, I just thought I would put the watercolor piece behind that and use this as an overlay. Next couple of cards, let me show you another watercolor technique. This one gets a little bit messier, but honestly, I have created some of the most beautiful cards I have ever made with this technique I'm going to show you right here. And it is one that anyone can do. You may end up with a little bit of water on your hands or a little bit of ink, but turns out absolutely beautiful pieces that you can use in a lot of different ways on your cards. So I use a large block for this. You want a block that's ideally as large as the piece of paper that you're going to be adding color to, but if it's smaller, you can do this several times to color that entire piece with color. Now this is a piece of watercolor paper. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit smaller than regular cardstock, so I have that ready. And I'm going to prepare my block. This is an F block. That's the size of it. Again, I'm going to show you different colors here than I will use on the cards you're going to see, just to give you some different examples of how color combinations can change what it looks like when you get done. So that was Azure Afternoon. And I always choose a color for the center of this that is the lightest of the colors. This is Night of Navy. Now I would not have wanted to put navy in the middle and then use my Azure Afternoon ink pad next, because it would be picking up my navy ink. I don't want it to pick up a darker color. So I'm not concerned if my Night of Navy ink pad picks up some of this lighter blue. And then over here, I'll use my other color, and I have chosen Blackberry Bliss. Now the reason I chose these colors is not by accident, because this is a classic color combo, something similar to this that I have done many, many times for the background on Christmas cards. What I found is if I cut silhouettes either with black or white or glimmer paper cardstock and put them over top of this background, a background similar to this, they turn out absolutely stunning. So what I did is I have a Stampin' Pierce mat behind here to give a little bit of cushion. This is important because stamping with a block against a hard surface, you probably won't get all of the little air pockets filled in. So that foam pad really helps. And I always put my scrap paper on top of my foam pad to protect my foam pad from all of this ink. So now I lift up, and depending on how you lift up the block, will create a lot of different unique effects, like the one I just got here with these lines running this direction. So let's look at the cards that I have created with this technique. Just another note about those silhouette cards. So I'll just put a plain piece like that in the background, and then I have put things like the nativity scene in the front, or scenes of, we had a set several years back, it was like a scene of Bethlehem that I cut in white, had one with a sleigh kind of in the distance, but put a silhouette in front of that, some kind of die cut, it will be stunning. So here are two examples that I have created like that, and here are some of the pieces that I had left over. You can see this one I just trimmed and used pieces as the background. This one I actually die cut pieces out of this. So there's a lot of different ways you can use these. And for these right here, I layered the die cuts on top of each other, and I only adhered them in the center on purpose because I love, with butterflies and flowers, I love when I can pop those up and give them some dimension. So I thought this one turned out just really beautifully. And then this one, I used the background. Here is that butterfly I mentioned a few minutes ago that I had die cut out. I did add a little bit of Misty Moonlight ink over the raised parts with my blending brushes. So those are some of my favorite ways. Let me give you one more idea for how to use this technique that I didn't play around with this enough to get a finished result, but this I think has a lot of potential, and maybe it's something I'll do in a future video. I die cut some of these butterflies out of acetate window sheets, so thin plastic, because I knew what I wanted to do was create basically a mask or an overlay piece. So I used a sponge and a little bit of my favorite glue, my multi-purpose glue. I love this stuff for a lot of reasons, but it stays sticky even when it is dry. It basically becomes like a removable adhesive when it is dry. So I put some of that glue on with a sponge, I let it dry face up, and then I put it on and used my water painter to add some more gorgeous grape ink over the top. Now, I have trained myself that anytime I do this technique, I always, the glue can be a little bit too sticky to where it will actually rip my paper when I remove it. So I always pick up a little bit of lint from my shirt and do this several times before I do this technique. Well, then I found that with this technique in particular, because I'm adding the water also, it wasn't quite sticky enough. So I need to go back and try this again and add that glue, let it dry, and then not pick up lint from my shirt. I need that full amount of stickiness, I think, when adding with the water over top. But I think this could be a really neat technique to try as well. So I hope you enjoyed these cards. I do want to mention quickly, we have a special starting today. We have a lot of new products available as part of our new catalog. We also have the happiest time of year for shopping with Stampin' Up! Going on. It's called Celebrations. So anytime you spend $60, you get to choose an item from a pretty big selection of items that you want to get for free. Here are a couple of paper packs that I think are super fun. We have these, we have some floral papers Of course, our papers are always double-sided. If you don't love what's on one side, you have lots of other options and tons of stamp sets. We do have, here's several stamp sets that are this one, I must make up some sample cards with these. This one is absolutely adorable. You fill in the little open spaces on the tree with your choice. Hearts, roses, Easter eggs. You can add leaves in. Little 4-leaf, I think, 4 and 3 leaf clovers. It's a mixture. Here's one. What a great one. I love stamps with big greetings. This one is actually a combination stamp and die set. A few of these you do have to spend $120 to get the item free, but most of them are free with $60. So that's Celebration. It's going on now through the end of February. So I want to invite you to join in with me this year in doing something that has really made my life better. What is that? I finally, over the last several years, made time to read through the entire Bible. And I'm going to say there were some things in there that were shocking. I was just listening to somebody talk the other day about she was going into ministry and I think starting working in ministry, and she hadn't read through the whole Bible. And when she did, anyway, she had some serious revelations, had to come to terms with some things. Like, there's stuff in there I had no idea. Anyway, I have invited you before to join in with me and do this, but I've kind of changed my plan. I was just going to read through again on my own without any kind of commentary or guidance, and I changed my mind because of a question I got from someone who said, please let me know what guide you're going to use or something. And I started thinking about it and I was like, that would probably be the right way to do it, to get some commentary. I'll get some explanation and understanding that I'm not going to get on my own. And I found one from a woman her name is Tara Lee Cobble. She does the Bible recap, if you've ever heard of her. I use the YouVersion Bible app on my phone. They have daily messages that I really like where people record videos, and it's just 2 or 3 minutes of encouragement for your day. It's a great way to start your day. But this Tara Lee Cobble, I've heard her speak in that. I like her. She seems really smart. She seems really relatable. Not listening to someone who's trained in theology, just somebody like you and me talking to me about how to understand what I just read. So I would love to invite you to join in and do this with me. I am a little bit ahead. I got excited. I started a couple of weeks ago and I'm just really excited. I'm really excited to do this. If you have a hard time understanding the Bible, if it is hard for you to focus or hard for you to understand or anything, I invite you to join in, say some prayers that God helps make it enjoyable for you, that he helps keep you focused, that he helps you to learn. The Bible tells us if we ask for wisdom, it will be granted to us. Ask for wisdom and understanding and these things, and stick with it. And I believe that through this, if you join in with me, that it will make a difference in your life. Now, if the whole thing, she says it's about 20 minutes a day to do the reading, and then she offers, it's about 8 minutes, a podcast or video, depending on where you want to find it, that summarizes what you just read. And so what I'm doing my reading, and then while I'm doing my other things, this may not be the right way to do it, but that's the way I'm doing it for now. Then I turn that on later in the day at some point, and I listen to that while I'm working. So it's not as much time out of my morning to do all of this. So I'd love for you to join in. You can find this Bible recap information in a lot of different places. She has a website. You can look it up there. You can find it in the YouVersion Bible app. Use the little magnifying glass to search for Bible recap 1 year is what I search for. I think it's called the 1 year reading plan or something, but search for Bible recap 1 year and you should find the reading plan there. You can also find these things on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts. She's got all the information in the descriptions below the videos and below the recordings. So there's lots of different places to find these things. She has books and journals you can purchase if you like everything to be visual. Join me. I fully believe this is going to make a difference in my life this year, and I think it could really make a difference in yours too if you choose to join in. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.